Hello everybody, Ronan here doing a drum kit lesson for you all today. Um, I've got a drum kit set up here. I'll just show you what I've got set up at home. So this is my beautiful Gretsch drum kit. There it says Gretsch. In fact, that's backwards because I've got it on selfie mode. But these are the drums I'm using today. So I have my hi-hat cymbals here. I have my snare drum. I have a tom-tom up here. My floor tom down here. And a cymbal. So I'm going to use this cymbal as a crash cymbal and a ride cymbal if I need both. Okay? So today, what I want to do is just go through some real basic kind of pop and rock rhythms for you all. Okay, I know each of you in Knockavoe, you're all at different levels and you're all doing different things on drum kit. But today, what we're going to look at just some general, fairly simple rhythms. I'm going to start. This is the first kind of YouTube video that I've done for you all in Knockavoe on drum kit. So I'm going to treat this as a very simple, basic first kind of lesson, getting our simple drum kit rock rhythms going. Okay, so you should all get something from this. You'll all be able to use these rhythms, and there's going to be a challenge for everybody in the rhythms that we're working on today. So first things first, put my feet on my pedals, get comfortable. So my bass drum down here, you can see this knee, that's working the bass drum. I have my hi-hat pedal with this leg here, opening and closing my hi-hats, and my snare drum, tom-tom, floor tom. Okay, so we're going to start off with a very, very simple drum kit rhythm where we play a bass drum on 1, we play the hi-hat on 2, snare drum on 3, and hi-hat on 4. So bass drum on 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and that's it. That's all it is, just 4 notes. Bass drum, hi-hat, snare drum, hi-hat. So it's just 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's a very basic pattern. You can all do this. We've done this in school. Everybody is able to play this. I'm going to speed it up a little bit, and I'm just going to play it for a minute or two. So if you are able to get anything set up at home, you don't even need to set up a drum kit. Obviously, most of you don't have drum kits at home. That's no problem. You can sit on a chair. You can tap your feet on the floor. For 1, you can just bang your foot on the floor. It doesn't have to be hitting the bass drum. You can just go 1, and then you can get yourself 2. If you have sticks, brilliant. If you don't have sticks, you can get 2 pencils, 2 rulers, 2 wooden spoons, anything you want where you've got something in your hands that you can use. 2 knitting needles, anything at all. So you can set up a chair. You can have the chair backwards, and you can set yourself up so that you've got your chair here, you've got the tall back of the chair here, and the seat of the chair here where the snare drum is, and so you're playing on the chair like this, on the back of the chair and on the seat of the chair for the hi-hat and the snare drum. Okay, and you can tap your foot on the floor. So let's try this. I'm going to count in a quick 4. and we're going to try it a little bit quicker. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, Okay, what I'm going to try and do now is we're now going to fill it out a bit more. Okay, so we've got that nice basic pattern. And now what we're going to do, we're going to add more hi-hat notes. Okay, so we're now going to play the hi-hat note with the bass drum. Then it plays on its own where 2 was. And then we're going to play the 2 hands together, the snare drum and the hi-hat, and then the hi-hat on its own. So they play together at the start, the bass drum and hi-hat, 2 hands, hi-hat, together, hi-hat, snare and hi-hat, hi-hat. Okay? So we've added extra hi-hat notes now. So every time we play the bass drum, we play a hi-hat. Then the hi-hat plays on its own. Then our 2 hands play together, and then the hi-hat. And then when we put that together with a little bit quicker speed, it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so normally when I'm playing that rhythm, I would count it slightly differently. I wouldn't count 1, 2, 3, 4. I wouldn't normally go 1, 2 here. What I would normally say is and for that hi-hat that plays in between. 1 and 2 and then we can go back to the beginning and say 3 and 4 and. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so that's how we're going to count it from now on. What we did a few minutes ago was just to get you learning how to play it, to make it nice and easy. But now when we're playing it, we're going to count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. When I say number 1 and when I say number 3, I'm going to play the bass drum. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Whenever I say 2 and whenever I say 4, I'm going to play the snare drum. Okay? So it'll be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. When we put those together, we go from bass drum to snare drum, back to bass drum, back to snare drum. So we're just taking turns. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 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 Easy peasy. Now we're going to add the hi-hat. Okay, so we'll add the hi-hat cymbals and we're going to play these on everything. So we're going to play on all the numbers and we're going to play on all the ands in between. So it's like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? And that just repeats. So when we put everything together, it's going to sound like this. 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 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 3 and 4 and. All right. That's a very, very basic rock rhythm. Can be used in any rock song, any pop song, any songs that you listen to on the radio. Now, sometimes the songs might go faster than what we've just practiced. Some songs go slower than what we've just practiced. So you have to listen to the song that you like and try and work out the speed, feel the beat, feel the pulse. Okay? And then we can add it to it. So if the song was faster, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The drum kit rhythm would sound like this. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 4. Alright, so we've tried it at different speeds now, okay, so we've just tried it a bit quicker there. What I would like to do today then in the course of this lesson is to show you some extra notes that we can put in on our drums, on the snare drum and on the bass drum with our foot, okay? So we've done a really straightforward pattern where we play one drum, one drum, one drum, and then one drum here. What we're going to try now, we're going to try and play 2 snare drum notes together, okay, on the second beat. So we're going to go like this. 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. So you can notice on beat number 2, I'm playing 2 snare drum notes. 2 and. Okay? So it's 1, 2 and 3, 4. 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 You can join in with me when you're watching this. You can add your skills to what I'm doing. You can try out everything I'm doing it as I'm doing it. I'm going to let things play for a nice few moments so that you have time to join in and play along with what I'm playing now as well. Okay, so we'll try that again. I'll just let it run so that you can really get used to the idea of sticking in an extra snare drum note. So I'm not playing any hi-hat. I'm just playing bass drum, snare, snare, bass drum, snare. Okay, so let's try that together. 3, 4. 1, 2 and 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 3, 4. Okay, now we're going to add the hi-hat. So the hi-hat's going to do what it always does. It's going to play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? Like it normally does. So we're adding the drums and the hi-hat all together. Bass drum, snare drum, hi-hat. 3 things happening together. So it's 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4, plus 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? So we'll put all of that together. It sounds like this. And I'm just going to let this run so you can join in and try and keep going with me. If you find it hard, that's okay. It's no problem. You can watch this as many times as you want to go through this, to get comfortable and to really feel that you've got this coordination. So I'm going to let this run for a wee minute or so now. Okay, so here we go. 3, 4. 1, 2 and 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 3, 4. Alright, so that was very simple, adding 1 extra snare drum note on the 2 and. Okay, we're going to add an extra challenge now to this next one. We're going to do what we've just done, but we're going to add another snare drum note when we've said 4. We're going to play 4 and. So we've got bass drum on 1, snare drum playing 2 and, bass drum on 3, snare drum on 4 and. So just the bass drum and snare drum, we can try this together. You can join in with me. I'll let this run so you get comfortable with it. So it'll sound like this. 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 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 1, 2 and 3, 4 and. Alright, now what we have to do is add the hi-hat. So adding the hi-hat now, we're going to just play the normal 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So on the bass drum we go 1 and then hi-hat. Then the 2 hands play together. 2 and. Then straight into another bass drum. There's no hi-hat on its own now. Be careful of that. We go straight into 3, 3 and. And then we play our 2 hands together. 4 and. So the whole thing with the hi-hat goes like this. 3 and 4 and. 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 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 1, And I've always got my hands crossed, yeah? Hi-hat here, snare drum underneath. I'm not trying to play open, I've got them crossed, okay? So whatever way you find the most comfortable, all right, when you're playing this. We're going to try and go a bit quicker, try and speed it up a little bit. Again, like we said earlier, some songs are faster, some songs go slower. Every bit of music goes at its own different speed, okay? So we'll try and play this a little bit quicker, okay? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Alright, so these rhythms, I love these rhythms because these rhythms, when we have the 2 snare drum notes, these rhythms are really from a style of music from the 1960s, which is a long time ago, way before I was even born. And there was a very famous band, probably the most famous band in the whole world, a band called the Beatles. And they played this music, and their drummer is a drummer called Ringo Starr. He was the drummer for the Beatles, and you can check him out, look him up on YouTube and check out Ringo Starr. Very, very famous drummer, brilliant drummer with a brilliant band. But he would play these types of rhythms a lot with his music because it was all nice and jivey kind of music from the 1960s, twisting and shouting and all that kind of stuff. And he would play quite fast. And so I'll play it a little bit quicker. I'm going to play the first rhythm we did, first of all. Let me remind you. It went 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Then the second rhythm we did, 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. And I'm going to give you a little example now. If you can join in with this, amazing. Don't worry if you can't, but just to let you hear what these rhythms sound like when they're kind of up to the kind of speed that the Beatles would have been playing their fast, dancey songs to. Okay, so the first rhythm, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's at a nice fast speed, okay? If you can get up to that, amazing. If you can't, don't worry about it at all. Just go at the speed you feel comfortable, okay? The second rhythm now, at that fast kind of Beatles kind of tempo, okay? The word tempo is the speed, okay? So if I say the word tempo, I mean the speed of the music, okay? So we'll try the second rhythm where the snare drum plays 2 and also plays 4 and. We'll try that now at the Beatles kind of speed. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and I did a little funny thing at the end there. Where I played that was just 1 in the end. Okay, that was just like a little drum fill. Okay, so we've got a few minutes left. So I want to try one more rhythm. Okay, I want to try one more rhythm on the same idea of what we've been doing. We have done 1, 2, and 3, 4. We have also done 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. Now what we're going to do, we're just going to play 1 snare drum note on beat number 2. And we're going to keep the 2 snare drum notes on beat number 4. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Okay, that's what we're doing now. So bass drum is 1, 2, 3, 4, and. And with the hi-hat, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 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 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Okay, so we have 3 rhythms we've done today, alright? And they're all very similar. It's using 2 snare drum notes. That's what we're really looking at today, adding extra snare drum notes in to make it kind of feel like a 1960s disco, okay? So the first rhythm we did today was 1, 2, and 3, 4. 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 The second rhythm we did today is this rhythm, where we add the 2 and the 4 and on the snare drum. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. And the third rhythm that we've just looked at is where we play the snare drum on 2, and then we play 2 snare drums on 4. So it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Okay, so one more quick thing to talk about that we have done in school. We're going to add a drum fill. Okay, a drum fill is when we use these other amazing drums, which I haven't even played yet in this lesson. So what we're going to do our rhythm, each rhythm, we're going to do the rhythm 3 times, and then we're going to do a drum fill. The drum fill, I like to use the word Coca-Cola. 4 notes. Coca-Cola. Okay, Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola. So on the last one, I'm just playing a bass drum. Coca-Cola, 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 bass. All right. Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola, bass. 1. Alright, so to finish everything off for today and to try everything all together, I'm going to play the first rhythm. I'll do it 3 times and then I'm going to do a drum fill on the 4th bar. Then straight after that, I'm going to go to rhythm number 2, where we play the snare drum twice on each time we play it. I'll do that 3 times through and then a drum fill. And then we'll finish with the 3rd rhythm that we did. 1, 2, 3, 4, and. I'll do that 3 times and then finish with the drum fill. Okay? So let's try all of this to finish up. Okay? Here we go. So everything we've done today. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. This. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and this. Ta-da! So, that's all I want to do with you today. Amazing. That's an awful lot for you to all practice and look at and enjoy. If you can try anything at home with as I said at the start, you can use drumsticks if you have some. You can use 2 pencils. You can use 2 wooden spoons, 2 knitting needles, anything that you might have, two sticks that will work for you. And you can play this as many times as you want and go through each of the rhythms until you feel happy and comfortable. And just to remind you all to make sure that you keep washing your hands, okay? Very important. Before you pick up your drumsticks, you wash your hands. When you're finished, you're playing your drums, wash your hands. I'm going to stop this now and I'm going to go off and wash my hands, okay? So stay safe, everybody, and we'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you. Bye-bye.